Hello everybody, my name is Tami and I'm here thanks to the invitation of my dear friend Karin. Karin, thank you very much for having me here, and I wanted to share with you part of my story. You can check out the rest of the story on my fan page, but Karin sent me a few questions that I'm going to answer, and the first one of them is what led me to start this journey. When I graduated from high school, I was about 20 pounds overweight, I think. And a few years later, I thought I had hit bottom because I gained 70 pounds in a year. And then it turned out, no, that was not my bottom. 6 years later, I think I was 60 pounds overweight, 60 more pounds. And well, I was 332 pounds overweight. That was 150 more than I needed to have on me. It was a whole person, not a tiny person, that I had on me, that I was carrying around with me every day. And when I was 25, now I'm 36, and when I was 25, I remember my knees hurt, my feet hurt a lot. I was in more pain than my grandma, who was at the time, I don't know, maybe 70, 75. And that for me was a big eye-opener. And I said, okay, this cannot go on. So the first step that I took to look after myself was thanks to the suggestion of a friend, a psychologist. It was Karin, but don't tell her I told you. When she was graduating from her psychology degree, I went with her to do, I don't know, some paperwork or something, and she suggested that I ask for an appointment at the psychology clinic at her university. And well, I knew I wasn't well. I didn't know exactly what wasn't well, but I knew that I needed to change something. I didn't know where to start. And at the time, I had no idea what I was in for. And it was a great decision. So I said yes, and I took my first appointment, and that went on for several years. It was with a psychoanalyst, so my therapy was long. It was 3 years, I think, more or less. And so that started several other changes. The other aspects of my journey that came after that were, I think, maybe 6 years in, after I started therapy, I decided I was ready to see a nutritionist and do something about the food. Then a few months later, I was ready to, I think several months, like 5 or 6, I was ready to start getting more active. I was a really passive person. I did nothing every day. I actually was in really bad health when I was 25 because of all that weight that I had on me. I already had 2 herniated discs in the lumbar region, and I had, let's call them, short circuits in my back, and it was difficult to even move sometimes. And I remember I went to my classes at the university, and I couldn't even be sitting down for half an hour because I felt my legs like cramp up and go numb. It was awful, really. So it was very difficult to do that. So when I decided to start this journey, I didn't know I was starting it, by the way, but as I was saying, I knew something had to change. And so after some time, I was ready to go to the nutritionist. Then I was ready to be more active, and I started at the gym for the first time in many years. And then several changes came. A few years later, I I decided that I wanted to take another type of therapy, more specific, and address things like how to manage stress, for example, how to be more assertive. So different types of therapy that were going to help me in specific areas. So going to the first time I went to the psychologist was definitely the one that started me in this journey. It gave me the strength. It made me a bit more self-confident. It made me want to help myself. And that was a huge part, a huge difference in my life. About who has supported me throughout this process, my mom, definitely. She's the greatest. I remember when I was a teenager, once she told me something that has been very important along my life. She told me that self-dialogue is very important and that I needed to watch out for the things that I told myself. For example, if I looked at myself in the mirror, not say, oh my God, you look ugly, or you're so fat, or something like that, but just maybe acknowledge the reality and focus on the positive and say, well, you're a beautiful girl, for example, and not say you're fat or you're ugly, right? Sometimes I didn't believe things about me, right? It wasn't all the time that my self-esteem was good. But I do remember that she told me that I had to focus on the positive, and I did that, and that has been very good, because every time I have something very negative to say inside my head about myself, I say, calm down. And I try to find something positive to say about myself, because I know that that's very important. We have thousands of thoughts, hundreds of thousands of thoughts every day. And I knew that it was important to keep them positive, right? And that was going to help me change. And I could tell myself, maybe you're not well now, but you'll be, okay? So don't worry. And that has helped me a lot. I was an atheist for the first 2 decades of my life, but now I know that God was with me during all those years that I didn't know where the light was, let's say. And before I could start the journey going inside me, right, within, I think that God was there guiding me, even if I didn't know him, that higher power, right? But I know now that he was there waiting for me, and I'll tell you a little bit later about the things I do every day to help me stay focused that have to do with a higher power. But I do know that God did support me throughout the process, even if I didn't feel him there or feel the higher power there. People that have supported me throughout the process are definitely my best friends. They have been there during the good times, the bad times, everything. The rest of my family too. They have been very supportive, and maybe they knew that it was something important, it was something necessary, and also that I meant it, that I wanted to be there, and that I was in it for the long run. So I think that gave them the idea of consistency, and that helped them help me also. And well, finally, the psychologists that I've had, nutritionists, people, trainers at the gym who have helped me, for example, everybody that has been there for me, they have been great. They have been really great. And I have also learned to stay close to the people who are great to me, and the rest, well, not listen to them. And so that has been something really great, to keep the good people near me. Another question is, what do I do on those days that it's difficult to keep up with the diet, the exercise routine, and the positivity to carry on? So I'll address each topic individually. the days that it's difficult to keep up with the diet, I actually try to think more in terms of maintenance, not on how to fix things. So what I do every day is that I wake up and I have ideally an hour before it's necessary for me to wake up. I have some time in which I talk to a higher power about my feelings, or I write about them. I know that it's not possible to ignore them. Feelings are there and they will be, especially fears. Fears are very common. I don't know if in everybody, but in me, definitely. So I know that I need to acknowledge them, know that they are there, and say, okay, you're there. Hello, good to see you. And when I acknowledge all those feelings, resentment, anger, fears, they become smaller. It's saying, okay, you're here, but you're not going to rule my life, right? I give them the acknowledgement that they need. I process them correctly. I think about what are the tools that I need that day specifically to go through it well, and I do it. If it's writing, if it's praying, I also try to have 5 minutes of, let's say, meditation, at least 5 minutes, but usually that's what I do. It's 5 minutes of calming down my thoughts, trying to shush them, and just listening, trying to get, let's say, my spirit, trying to get everything calm inside me so that I can be ready to listen to whatever has to come my way. So that's something that I do. So it's more maintenance, preventive than trying to fix things, right? When I do have trouble keeping up with the diet, what I do is try to pause and try to do that again, have some meditation, breathe, relax, and go on, right? And something that I always do is that if I didn't do something well, if I ate more than I should have, for example, I say, okay, don't worry, let's try to learn what we can from this situation. What can I do better next time? Not what should I have done better, but what can I do better next time? Because it already happened, spilled milk, right? So I say, okay, what can I do better next time? I get up and I go on. And I try to not think, oh my God, what did I do? The diet, bye diet. But say, okay, this is just one meal. Then this meal, it's done. I cannot do anything about it. I already overate. So get up, go on, and try to have my next meal as good as possible, trying to stick to a food plan if I can, right? And I do that every time, and after a few meals, it definitely gets easier to follow a food plan. Then the exercise, the days that it's difficult to keep up with the exercise, well, it doesn't happen a lot, fortunately, now, but the days that it does happen, something that helps me is to remember, how will I feel after going to the gym or after doing whatever exercise I have to do? I know that I feel better after I go to the gym. I know that I feel, yes, tired, but a different kind of tired, and more relaxed, and like I was able to get the stress out, the stress of that day. So that helps me a lot, remembering, trying to think, how will I feel after? Not how I feel now, because now I don't want to go, but how will I feel later? Something that helps me a lot in general with positivity and a few other things is trying to remember, why am I doing it? What is my motivation? Why did I start in the first place? Why did I decide to start with the gym? Why did I decide to do so many things, right, in my day that are good for me? And so I try to remember why I did it. What is my real motivation? Not that the doctor says that I'm overweight and that I have to keep up the good work. But why do I do it? If I do it for myself, if I do it because I want to have a better lifestyle, if I do it because I want to be better, feel more active and like being able to move more. Okay, so that's something that I do remember why I started in the first place. What is my real motivation? And then something else that I do is try to make a commitment to myself. I try to decide, okay, what do I need to do today? I need to do this, that, and try to keep it simple. Like 3 things, for example, in a day that I can really do realistically, things that I can really take on that are not too big, small steps that I can do today, like making a call or finding out something online. Those are the things that I do. I think about why, my reasons, I commit, and then I go on with my day. Now, I love this question. If I could speak to the Tammy from 20 to 25 years ago, so when I was a teenager, 11 to 16, what would I say to her now? I think I would have loved to be able to talk to myself back then. I would tell her to hang on. I would tell her that she's very loved by me, by other people, even if she cannot believe it. I would tell her that she's strong, that she's perseverant, that she can go on. I would tell her that life after school is not as it is in school, that things do get better for the ones that didn't have such a good time in school when we were little, that the bullying does stop, that that it does get good, and that she should hang on until it is that way. Now, the other question is about what I would tell that Tammy 15 years ago. So when I was, let's say, 22. Well, that one I think is a little bit stronger, let's say. First of all, I would tell her that yes, it's true that things happen to her, that maybe as most people, she didn't have the ideal childhood, but that she's a grown-up already and that she needs to find for herself the tools that she didn't have before, that she needs to take care of herself, that maybe some people will want to do it and try, but that she's the one who's responsible to take care of taking care of herself. I would tell her also to hang on, that things do get better, that there comes a time when you have the self-confidence that you need and that you're responsible for yourself. And I would tell her that she needs to find the help that she needs, that she will have the tools that she needs, that they're out there, but she needs to go out and get them. And I would tell her that I love her, of course. Now, what advice would I give to people in a similar situation as me about diet and food? Well, something that has helped me is to think about food. Maybe, yes, food is delicious and there are millions of things to taste, but I've come to think as food as medicine. Something that I need to take at a specific time, on specific days and at specific times in specific amounts. And yes, sometimes I do enjoy things that are different, very tasty, and I've tried to start cooking too to figure out what I like. But food is medicine. It's what my body needs. Just like I have to give my body 2 liters of water every day at least. and do other things. I need food in specific, with specific minerals, vitamins, and things like those, right? So I would tell them to do it for themselves, not for anybody else, but for themselves, not because a doctor says so or because people say so. Do it for yourself. Enjoy the journey. You probably won't like it sometimes, but the outcome is great, and along the process you grow and you can even become happier. That's great. I would tell them to find the specific help that they need. Find things that make sense to them. If they go to a doctor, to a nutritionist, try to find out, okay, this kind of thing I like. This for me makes sense. Sometimes we don't have specifically the information that we ourselves need, but we need to go out and find it. So find a doctor, a nutritionist, somebody that can help you, that can give you that you need and tell you, okay, for your body type, for your height, weight, activities and all that, this is what you need to eat, and this is the type of exercise that you need to do. About exercise, I would tell everybody to find exercise that they like to do. First of all, not do things that they hate. A lot of people don't like the gym, and that's okay. If you like biking, then if you can, buy a bike, rent a bike, ask for a friend for a bike and do that. If you want to learn to salsa dance, then do that. There are many things that you can do to become more active. So find activities that you would consider acceptable to do, and start doing them. And trust me, along the way, you will become more active and will start to like more exercises, not just the one that you started doing. Now, about mental health and healing past hurts. I think this part is very, very important. I think we need to accept that as human beings along the way, maybe a few things got damaged. For some, it's just a few things. For other people, it's a lot of things. But we need to accept who we are. If I'm a flawed human being like everybody else, because I have a lot of defects, then I need to figure out what they are and know myself, love myself that way, accept myself that way. And whatever I can change, go and change it and do something about it. And I would say that it's really important to be a better person for me, but also for other people. To be a better friend, to be a better daughter or son, to be a better relative in general, a better spouse, for example, be better at work. I need mental health for everything, absolutely everything. So if I accept the help that I need and I do something about it, my life will definitely be better. And you know what's great is that along the way, I will find the well-being that I need to have. So that's all for me today. Thank you very much for listening. And it was great sharing with you today. You can check out a few more things on my fan page. And thank you very much, Karin, for having me here. Bye-bye.